사람들에게는 만사형통할 수 있는
And the kingdom of God and his citizens are kings and queens that stand with the King of Kings and his kingship, that rule with the rod of iron in peace, justice, and mercy. Citizens are ours.
Now, the Rod of Iron Ministries, which is another offshoot of this church.
This is a satanic antichrist devil. These are not real Christians.
Good values. This is a cult.
We're very much opposed to it.
We don't worship government. We worship God.
How many of you feel safer knowing that your teacher has a gun? All of you.
We need to turn back to God.
Not to be dependent on the government.
Revelation 3:11, let no man take thy crown, hold fast to what God hath. Well, let's go to some Rod of Iron news, folks. We're going to GOA. GOA calls for a debate with anti-gun Colonel Peters. You can see some of these military colonels and higher-uppers are anti-gun. They're anti, because why? They're commie military leaders. Look, not all military leaders are good. Every communist regime has tons of military leaders. they're not for gun control. They are for gun centralization. They're for government gun control. Where the government gets government gun rights, okay? They're not for human gun rights or citizen gun rights. They're for government gun rights. That's really what the commies are. Commies have very hardcore military leaders. And that's what Obama has put into the military. Look at this. In the U.S. military now, we have these kind of traitorous, commie-like leaders. Colonel Ralph Peters, GOA is calling for a debate with him. Colonel Peters wrote an article for Anti-Gun New York Post last week, and then appeared on Fox News where he spewed no fewer than 10 outrageous lies or contradictions about the Second Amendment. It's a good thing Colonel Peters is no longer running our military. Oh my gosh, the guy was running our military. Jeez, said GOA Executive Director Eric Pratt. His understanding of firearms and the Constitution is woefully ill-informed. Tech team, cue that interview with Colonel Ralph Peters on Fox News. Let's hear what this bozo has to say. For starters, Colonel Peters refers to firearms like the AR-15 as assault weapons, a term that the New York Times admitted was a term made up by Democrats in the early 1990s to demonize the whole class of firearms. Perhaps this Army colonel sat behind a desk and didn't get much range time, Pratt said. But real assault rifles have a selector switch so the gun can fire on automatic mode. None of the guns Peters is trying to ban can fire as a machine gun. Perhaps unknowingly, Colonel Peters also joined Joe Biden in telling women that they should buy a shotgun rather than AR-15. That's ridiculous. That's the type of pompous arrogance that drives people crazy, Pratt said. It's the thinking that says, I know better than you what's good for you. Colonel Peters states in his article that the Florida shooter and recent killers could not have killed as many people as they did were it not for the weapons they used. But I guess Colonel Peters has forgotten about the recent truck attack in France, which killed 86 people, or the use of box cutters on 911 to kill more than 3,000 people. And perhaps he's unaware that knives were used to massacre 50 people in a Chinese coal mine. Killers will use whatever they can get their hands on, Pratt said. Colonel Peters also naively said that firearms like the AR-15 are the criminal's weapon of choice. But a quick look at FBI statistics shows that knives, hammers, or hands kill far more than rifles of all types, of which the AR-15 is just a subset. And when it comes to guns, handguns are truly the criminal's weapons of choice, as they're used 25 times more often than rifles. Perhaps Colonel Peters' most egregious misstatement was his assertion that the U.S. should ban any semi-automatic that can easily be converted to a fully automatic firearm. Does he realize what he's advocating, Pratt asked? That means he would ban virtually every single semi-automatic handgun and rifle known to man. Pratt called on Fox News to bring on a GOA spokesman to correct Colonel Peters' misstatements. Cue that video. Let's play this video of the stupid Colonel Peters, you pathetic idiot. treasonous traitor.
Been walking a bit of a tightrope on
Little
gun
commie
control.
colonel. Let's name a Cyril after him.
There's
Cyril.
nobody that
It's
loves the
commie
Second
Colonel
Amendment
Cyril.
more than I do, and there's nobody that respects the NRA. They're
We got
friends
volume
of
on it? Where's
mine.
volume?
They backed us all. They're great people. They're patriots. But they're great people. But we really do have to strengthen up, really strengthen up background checks.
I want to bring into this debate Lieutenant Colonel Ralph Peters, who served in the Army, a decorated soldier himself, but he drew the line in an editorial that is getting worldwide attention about these type of weapons that have been used in a lot
What a
of
traitor.
these attacks, including the one in Florida on automatic weapons. The colonel said, as I write these lines, remember
What a
that the tower
basket.
musket behind me and the
Bastard.
colt on my death, talking about a long family history. But I believe on moral grounds and constitutional grounds, no private citizen should own automatic weapons. Lieutenant Colonel joined.
Automatic weapons?
Ralph,
They don't,
your
you
argument
dumb
was if
ashtray.
you really want to use these weapons,
Freaking idiot.
You conclude by saying just join the Marines. They'll pay you to do it.
Yeah,
What-
or the U.S. Army.
Explain.
And well, first of all, I got to say, I don't consider myself a decorated soldier. My decorations are on a Christmas tree. But I did serve, and I served proudly, and I know what these weapons can do. And, Neil, I support the Second Amendment. I do not support the cherry picking of it that we're seeing right now. We can talk about that if you wish. But the bottom line is this. I'm a long time, I'm a gun owner. I know guns. My family's a gun family, going way back. But these weapons, AR-15 and all, and similar weapons, are not for sporting purposes. You don't take them hunting because they're meant to tear bodies apart. They tear up the meat. They're lousy for target shooting. They're not even good.
Lousy for target shooting?
In the middle of the night against an intruder. For that, you want a pump-action shotgun. That will definitely.
Oh my gosh.
deter a burglar.
That's if you're in a 100-foot
The
square foot
purpose
little
of the AR-15
communist
series,
apartment.
Weapons
What a
is to
ridiculous-
kill and maim human beings. That's it. That is what the M16 series rifles were designed for our military. And they certainly kill, but beyond that, when a round from an AR-15 hits you, if it can go in your hip and it's spinning and it can come out your shoulder. It's meant to just tear the body apart so that the wounded person can't get up and fight again. And so, to me, having those weapons in civilian hands is absolute madness. And by the way, those 4 deputies... that
Because
did
you're a
school,
freaking
I think
control
I can
freak
tell you
commie.
that they're outside with handguns. And they're
Come on,
carrying
GOA,
that
debate this
semi-automatic
bozo
inside.
and destroy him. He's so arrogant to say
It's like
that
going
civilians
in with
can't
bare
be able to
hands.
defend themselves.
And, you know,
What a
semi-automatic
total
weapon.
evil,
The
wicked,
AR-15
anti-American piece of trash.
Without a bump stock,
trash
without
bag.
any modifications, it fires
If he represents the
45 rounds
military,
a minute.
this
Now, think
country
about
is
that.
over.
The founding fathers.
And of course, he doesn't represent the military because most military men and women agree that the AR-15 is the best firearm. And it's the number one firearm sold in America and number one firearm for women for home defense and property defense.
Which could fire 2
You
rounds a minute
stupid
with a range
little
of-
commie freaking colonel.
Infantry weapon at the
Pathetic
time
idiot.
was a Brown Bess musket. A trained soldier could fire 3 rounds a minute with a range of 50 to 100 yards. The AR-15 has a range of 600 yards, 45 rounds a minute. You put a bump stock on it, it's several hundred rounds a minute. Why on earth should we have weapons that kill children? They're used. The AR-15 is used again and again. It's the weapon of choice.
But a lot of
for
people have
domestic
AR-15s
terrorism.
That's bull
that never
crap.
use them on kids or on individuals.
And
a
if
lot of
little
people who don't
totalitarians
want
like
to.
you get control of the
I've been
government,
saying,
that's
you know,
why the
please
civilians
don't
need the
go against whether he wants
AR-15
to
for
come
government tyranny, to fight government tyranny with little potheads like you sitting on top.
Pathetic that we have to get to that level.
You
It's
pathetic idiot.
that
You're
we're so
pathetic, you
wrapped
piece of
up
trash.
around AR-15s that we don't want
You're
to
a
protect
freaking
children.
redcoat
This is the
in
weapon
the
of choice for
military.
us.
Thank
For
God you're
the
retired.
for the
And I can't
Texas
believe
State,
you had
for several
authority
states,
over these
and
American forces,
in
you
a perfect
freaking
world,
red
we'll know
coat.
Exactly who can use these weapons, who's sane, who's
Second
not.
Amendment is not for
And
sporting purposes or for hunting.
When I wrote
It's
that
to
article,
fight a tyrannical
come in
government
today.
like our
I
founding
know
fathers
my
were
position is
alpha
unpopular
Christians
with
who
many
fought the
Fox
freaking
viewers.
redcoat
But
British
it's
tyrannical
a moral
governments.
issue.
And the
It's a
purpose of it,
ethical
Jefferson said every day,
It's about
Jefferson said every
dead
20 to 30 years,
dead law-abiding
revolts have to happen
citizens.
against the American federal government, or not American government,
They skip two things.
for them to remember. I mean, he said that. He said every 20, 30 years, revolutions should happen against the government.
That doesn't matter. Well, you can't cherry
This
pick it.
idiot traitor of a colonel.
Talks about the
He
right
doesn't
to
represent the majority of military and law
right to
enforcement.
bear arms.
They overwhelmingly
It
support the
doesn't say
Second Amendment and
firearms.
overwhelmingly
So
support
in theory,
AR-15s.
if you're a literalist,
That
that
has
could be
law-abiding
considered
citizens
right
because
now.
they know the Second Amendment is not for hunting or for fishing or for whatever shooting sports. It's to defend this civilization from tyrannical, overgrown, cancerous government, which of course we had under Obama and Hillary Clinton, already had the pedal on the metal to genocide the freaking gun owner population. She was going to genocide the government population like they're doing
is
in South
preferably a
Africa.
semi-automatic weapon.
They're actually genociding the white population there. But Hillary was going to go after the gun owners.
Much more stringent background checks.
Look at this
Much
idiot.
more so, and
It makes
certainly
me
bump
sick.
stocks and that sort of thing has to be banned. But I think we need to stop politicizing this and look at the victims. The victims.
You're
Those
politicizing
kids.
this, you piece
Don't
of
they
trash.
matter?
Look at the victims. Yeah, they sat there while the cops didn't do anything about it, and they sat there getting their heads blown off while the teachers could not shoot back. But Israel armed all their teachers, and they don't got no school shootings left. They don't got any school shootings. Thailand armed the teachers, and now they don't got no school shootings. Colorado armed their teachers, and now they don't got no school shootings. Utah armed their teachers, and now they don't got no school shootings. There is a proven track record to stop these criminals who get attracted and lust for gun-free zones, and that is to make them hard targets and make the teachers be armed who are CCW carriers and who are trained and who know how to use a gun, and to shoot back and put down those crazy lunatics if they try to do anything about it. There's no coincidence that 98.4% of all mass shootings since 1950 are on gun-free zones. None of these lunatics are shooting cop stations because everybody's armed there. None of them are shooting military stations. The Fort Hood shooter, guess what? Gun-free zone on the military base. You had to be gun-free. That's ridiculous. That's absurd. You would never imagine that. But that's what the Fort Hood shooter was doing. It was a freaking gun-free military base, which is it's ridiculous. Give me a break. GOA needs to debate this bozo and just smash and tear this idiot apart in terms of a debate, because this guy is an anti-American, he's an anti-citizen, anti-Second Amendment, anti-constitutional little piece of trash. And I don't care if he's serving in the military. He is an enemy of the nation. If he believes in things like that, he's a commie comrade. You can be in the military and still be a commie. You are an enemy of these United States then. Wow, incredible. He needs to be completely exposed, boycotted. What a piece of trash. Can you believe this guy was running our military? Oh my gosh, this is what Obama was doing, bringing these commie military leaders in there so he could centralize power and use these kind of baskets to wipe out the gun owners and to go after them as domestic terrorists, because under their reign, the FBI designated even evangelical Christians as domestic terrorists. Do you understand? I mean, think about how absurd that is. Golly, these people are totally sick. They're completely twisted. They're filled with the spirit of Satan. Look at him. This guy has his soul sucked out of him. He looks like some kind of, Mr. Grinch. And what is that little thing in The Simpsons? That evil, rich, businessman. What is that? What's that guy's name? Get a picture of The Simpsons, the evil guy on Simpsons. Type in evil man Simpsons. It's that business guy. He's a conglomerate banker or something. He's like this skinny. There he is. Look at him. Look at that. That looks like Colonel, what the heck is his name? Peters. That's him right there. That's Colonel Peters. Give me a freaking break. We take a short break. We'll be right back after this. Oh my goodness. Get my blood pressure up in the freaking morning like this.